What's going on, guys? My name is Matt and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be analyzing the largest Solana project right now and the fastest growing NFT I think of all time. Today's video, we're talking a little bit about DeGods, and in full disclosure, I am not sponsored. I have no association with this project. I don't even own a DeGod, but I wanted to give you guys some insight here as to what I believe is the reasoning behind why this project has grown so much, and hopefully you could use a little bit of what I say in this video to learn how to find the next project that will grow like DeGods one day. So first off, I just want to say, to a degree, this project is a fluke, to an extent. Given the fact that right now the crypto market is doing extremely well, DeGods really shouldn't be performing this well, because right now with the current price of Solana being around $95, it's actually going up an awful lot. Same thing with Ethereum. This is not the $70 SOL that we saw a couple of weeks ago, in which would have definitely prompted an NFT, sort of pump, so to speak. But right now, all of crypto is doing pretty well. So when you look at all of the NFTs that are out there, most of them are actually not doing all that well. There are a few exceptions and a few that I'm a big fan of as well, but most of them are not performing all that hot. So the question is, what did DeGods do differently? How did they go from a floor price of like 30 Solana to over 83 Solana in just a few days? Well, I'll tell you a few things that they have done correctly. So first off, art design, art style is extremely good. This is creative, it's clever, but that's not really the reason why DeGods have done what they've managed to do, and that's what we're going to get into right now. But before we go any further, guys, let's talk a little bit about my Patreon. I have worked tirelessly to make this the best NFT group out there. By joining my Patreon, you guys get literally an insane amount of content. You'll get a custom Discord role, direct access to me in a DM, full access to Matt's NFT dojo, crypto and altcoin trade signals, access to my exclusive NFT watch list, whitelist opportunities, priority access to my live streams, and so much more. To be honest with you guys, I think it's a steal for only $10 a month. And of course, if you guys would like to talk to me over voice in a voice call, you guys could always join the Emerald and above tier, which has that offered. Currently, there are hundreds of people joining the Patreon every month, and they absolutely love it. Link down below in the description. So first off, we have to understand what this project was actually built around, and the 33.3% thing that you guys are seeing is actually their original paper hands tax, which I remember seeing even before launch. I actually sat there on launch trying to mint one of these at the time and didn't succeed because they sold out so freaking fast. So when you see the 33.3%, that is how much you have to pay if you sell a DeGod for under the floor price. So if you would have bought a DeGod yesterday at, say, 65 Solana, and you wanted to sell it right now for 70 Solana, you would actually lose money because you would be paying 33.3% of that to the tax. And then, of course, that over time accumulates and is given back to holders. So right away, the main thing that we are seeing right away from a financial model here is that people are being dramatically de-incentivized to sell. They are being essentially scared away from selling, and they are being rewarded for staking and for holding. And with any NFT project out there, it's like a no-brainer to have that system in place. But these guys have actually managed to do that successfully, and there are a lot of projects which have done that unsuccessfully in the past. So when we take a look, they do have 90% of their project staked, which is just absolutely ridiculous, and a total value locked here of $73 million. That is hard to believe, considering, again, most NFTs don't even come close to this in their entire lifetime. They actually have a map here as well on their site of all the different whales, people owning DeGods. I think is pretty cool. But then they also talk about their utility for the Dust tokens. So the DDAO will host Dust auctions and raffles for whitelist spots, NFTs held in the DDAO vault, and so much more. All Dust collected from the store will be held by the treasury. 3.33% of Dust is given back to the team. That's a very fair amount. There's nothing outrageous about that. And of course, you can use your Dust token to upgrade your DeGod to a DeGod. So it costs 1,000 Dust per DeGod, and they generate 3 times as much yield. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is literally ridiculous. And again, the reason why this is so ridiculous is because this is, from what I can tell, a pretty foolproof model in terms of staking, in terms of anything like that. So again, there are so many projects which have tried staking, which have tried ways to prevent people from undercutting the floor and all of that. Yet DeGods have actually done this in a way that is basically foolproof. you don't want to sell your DeGod, because if you do, you won't be able to upgrade it to a dead god, and you want to purchase or at least stake to get some of their dust token, because you'll want to use that for a dead god. But then once you use that on a dead god, you will get more of the dust token, so you'll want to keep your dead god. Just a very intelligent way of sort of planning this out. And again, there is a little bit of luck involved, a little bit of timing in terms of the market and things like that. You know, it definitely does help that there is not any super major projects right now exploding on the you know, the homepage of Magic Eden. There aren't all that many that are competing with DeGods, but minus the sort of circumstantial luck that, again, I would say 25% maybe of this pump is attributed to just being at the right place at the right time, good circumstances, you know, happening to be at a time where Solana is not going for $250 per Solana. That definitely would be tough. Or having some mega popular collection, which, you know, is eating up all the liquidity. Not having that, again, definitely helps. But there is still a lot of credit here that has to be given to the DeGods team for being able to come up with something like this, because ultimately, most of their success, the vast majority of the success of DeGods right now with their current floor, is created by them. They are responsible for having such a successful project here, because again, what you have to realize is there are so many NFTs on Solana, so many, and again, you could look through all of these. There are so many that throughout time have tried at some point to be able to include staking, who have tried through some ways. You know, Solana Money Boy is an example of another good project with staking. You could take a look at Remnants, which I don't think has staking yet. They may, but they definitely do have a really strong team as well. Shaquille O'Neal as well has been pumping the Astrals project. He's been tweeting about it all the time. So Astrals is doing very well. But there are a lot of projects out there that have tried to implement staking in some way and have not been successful. And it looks like DeGods have. And the final thing that you guys will notice, of course, is the fact that when we take a look at their Twitter here, their community is just incredible. I mean, these guys have such a strong group of people who are tweeting about them. Tons of people are moving from Ethereum to Solana, and the major project they are buying on Solana after moving here from Ethereum is, of course, DeGods, which is literally nuts. Then, of course, when we look at a technical analysis perspective, I know it may sound silly to do technical analysis on a JPEG, but you guys can see here they are after mint, you know, sitting around, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 Solana. And I remember actually seeing one at the time for, I think, a floor of 5.5, sitting there going, oh, man, I think I might pick one of those up. And for whatever reason, I just didn't. That was back on the Alpha Art exchange. I'm very guilty about not doing that. But again, you guys can see they basically just consolidate. They don't really move for pretty much an entire month straight. And normally, you know, a lot of projects would fall. A lot of projects people would worry about, say, oh my God, they're going nowhere. But then through, you know, some positive market sentiment, of course, the fact that they had some announcements coming out, you guys can see they basically go and hold a floor of 18 for a while. Then they have a massive pump all the way up to around 40, which is where a lot of people did buy, a lot of NFT YouTubers bought. And then, of course, as after any major pump like that, we see a bit of pullback, and that pullback kind of lasts from like late February into early March. So that pullback definitely does stay there for a little bit at around 30, but then they just have this almost infinite looking climb that has virtually no pullback to be said. And it is just incredible to see that over time, you know, through the fact that people held on to their DeGods, believing in the team and believing in what these guys were able to create, that through these periods of consolidation, they really did just consolidate. They didn't dump down to, you know, 5 SOL again. That never really happened. So it is definitely cool, in my opinion, to see this. And I really do wish everybody on this project the best of luck. This is a project I wish I could have bought. I was thinking about buying yesterday at 68 Solana. I definitely do regret not buying, but unfortunately, this really pushes the limits of what I can afford to risk on an NFT. And again, remember, folks, all NFTs are risks. All NFTs are risks. If you have the money, that's wonderful, but DeGods is, I think, a little bit out of my range right now. In fact, a lot of it out of my range, and I think a lot of people watching this video will probably agree. So again, I would suggest maybe taking a look at what other projects are doing in the future that manage to build this kind of community in the same way, or even getting some of the dust token, assuming that the dust token will appreciate over time. So just a couple of ideas. That being said, folks, hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you did. Check out the Patreon down below in the description. My name is Matt. See you guys on the next one. Peace.